Dear students, welcome back in my class of CIS 2168 Data Driven Design. We are in week number 7 and the topic of discussion in week 7 is log filtering, and this is part number 4 of log filtering. The aim and objectives for this session, week 7 session, is I have already covered. So this is the aim, and the objectives are divided into 3 bullet points, where the last objective is further divided into 3 sub-objectives. In part number 4, our focus will be on objective 3rd. This one we completed in part number 1. This one we completed in part number 2. And different principles we discussed in part number 3 of week 7, and this is the objective we will cover in part number 4, that is in this part. So we will start with data filtering. So data filtering is the process of filtering some data out of all the data present in the log file or in the CSV file, or it's better to say in the data set. So you have a data set, and data set is either it will be in the form of CSV file or it will be in the form of log file or any other. So you have these type of data, and these data files contains massive data and are represented in tabulated form, where these columns represents field 1, field 2, field 3, field 4, similarly field n. So in order to perform some specific task, if you want to complete some specific task, and you need specific field, like if you want to perform any task T, and for completing task T you do not need all the data which is present in the CSV file or log file or in any other file. Rather than using all, you want just field F3 to complete task 3. So what you will do, if you are using all the data for processing to complete task T, what will happen? These process will be time consuming. So we call it is computationally costly, or it is not a cost effective process. So we say that it is this process, if you are working with all the fields to accomplish any task T, where you just need one field and you are processing all the fields, then this process will be time consuming, or it will be computationally costly, or it is not cost effective. So what you can do, how you can make the system more efficient so that you can process and you can complete the task more quickly, you can apply data filtering methods. So by applying data filtering methods, what you can do, you can pick the relevant field to process. For example, I have shown one file here, so you can consider it as log file or as a CSV file which has several fields: field 1, field 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 different fields are shown here. For example, if you want to complete any task T, and for completing task T you do not need all 6 fields. What you want any specific. For example, you just need IP address, or you just need request line, or you just need user agent. So how you will get these specific field to complete this task? You can apply the mechanism or the method of log filter and the method of data filtering. So you will just select these three fields and you will discard rest all fields by applying data filtering. So for example, if you want to perform temporal identification, you can just use IP address and you can ignore all the fields. So your operation, your simulation, your program will work only on this field. So the processing time of the system will be high. It means that the system is more efficient, because all fields are not required to complete any task related to temporal unique identifier. If you want to process or you want to perform some task where you need personal data, so you can select only this field or this field or this field. You can ignore rest all field. It means that your program is working for these fields and ignoring rest all field. So you can achieve all these things by applying the concept of data filtering. How? You will see this in tutorial session. In the next slide, I have given how you will filter IP address from the CSV file or from the log file. Suppose you have many IP address, and here you can see this IP address, the first IP address is the same as this IP address and this IP address. Similarly, second IP address is similar to the IP address. So it means that there are users. How many users are there? According to the given IP address in this slide, there are 3 users: user number 1, user number 2, and user number 3. So I am calling it U1, U2, and U3. So this user is using this IP address. Similarly, user 2 is using this IP address, and user 3 is using this IP address. So in order to make the IP address unique, because here you can see this IP address is repeating 2 times, 1, 2. Similarly, IP address 2 is repeating 1 time. So in order to resolve the problem of repetition, which will create ambiguity in data processing, what we can do, we can map these IP address using some key. So you will map the IP address using some key. So 1 is the key for this IP address. So 1, 1. So uniqueness will be there. So 1 means this IP address. Similarly, 2 means this IP address. This is the same. So 2 is the key for this. So it will create uniqueness. So that is the reason we are mapping the IP address. So IP address are mapped into unique number. So we are using these unique number to map these IP address. What is the benefit of this? These mapping will add uniqueness, and it is needed for future analysis. So if you want to perform any future operation on the IP address, then you can use this unique identifier or keys to perform operation on the IP address. Now next we will discuss filtering personal information. So personal information, as I said in the earlier part of week 7, credit card information is considered as a personal sensitive information. So this is nothing but the credit card number. So you will use in the mapped format. So this is the mapping of the credit card number. So you will get cross like that for credit card number, so that the other person will not get the information about your credit card number. Telephone number. So this is the personal sensitive information. So we will not going to display the contact detail in this manner. What we'll do, we'll use mapping based approach, and will map this like cross like that. Similarly for IP address, email address is also known as the personal sensitive information. So this is the email address. So rather than using the email address in this manner, we'll use a mapped email address. So after mapping, we'll call it as user x example.com, user x1 example.com, or any other approach you can apply for mapping the email address. So in this way, by applying this mapping mechanism, you can hide the personal sensitive information from unauthorized user. So the person who is holding, who have this credit card, that person can see the information. The other person, if the other person want to get the information, the other person will get the information in this manner, which is nothing but the mapped information for this IP address. Similarly for the contact detail and for email address. So this type of method you can apply to hide the personal sensitive information of the user from the unauthorized or unauthentic user. So that's all in this session. Now next I will explain the tutorial. Thank you very much.